Hello, hello. Life isn't fair. Whee! I'm making this video. I've been compelled to make this video because I think inherently, once you reach a certain age, most people, at least on some conscious level or subconscious level, accept it. You don't have to like it. I don't like it. But I think sometimes things that we know or are obvious need to be said aloud or heard by someone saying it aloud as a reminder or to make it click better or whatever. So this is my video of the day. Maybe I'll make another video. Life isn't fair. And part of the reason also I want to make this, my daughter made me think of it, because she's, kids around these certain age start screaming like, "It's not fair." Yeah, and I think at least what I do is I don't try to sugarcoat it. I don't try to come up with excuses. And you probably shouldn't either with your children or yourself. And it's just, life is not fair. It's very not fair. It's very, very difficult. I mean, you can start out, I guess you could call it divine will. Like, who's born where and to whom and into what circumstances. Some people are born into very good circumstances, or at least they appear to be, at least stable. Everybody has issues. A decent amount of money, roof over their head, not constantly have to move, or, whatever, means safety. And some people are not born into those situations. That doesn't mean that you can't make something of yourself, and no one should ever help those people or make those people want to acquire the label of victim. Oh, well, it wasn't your fault. It doesn't matter. You being born in a certain position in life, especially a disadvantaged one, makes things a fuck of a lot harder, to be sure. And anybody who says otherwise is stupid or has an agenda. That doesn't mean there aren't plenty of people that worked their way out of it harder. It was harder and made something of themselves. And it's like, well, life isn't fair. No, it's not. And then you can carry out all throughout, I'm sure every day of your life, you could find one from something small to something large where you're like, well, it's not fair. And I think the Lord tried teaching us that very early on, even in the Bible, in the Old Testament. Because I was talking to someone about why, back in the day, if someone got caught breaking the law, one of the laws, and one of the 613 laws, some of them carried a weight of stoning to death. And we're not talking just murder here. There's some that you'd think, well, it's bad, but stoning to death. And it's like, well, the problem is it's kind of another video unto itself. But if someone in your community back then sinned, it brought wrath from God on everybody. Now that tells us a whole bunch of things about how the Lord wants us to live and how he feels about community and how we all should be together and watch each other's back and help each other, and also make sure each and every one of us is being held to a standard. And me, even myself, I know a lot of people, no one's telling me what to do. I am the number one king of no one's. I hate being involved in being told what to do. I can't even describe to you in words how much that bothers me, but I am somewhat smart enough to recognize the absolute necessity and advantage of people keeping an eye on each other in public. And you see that. Look at even, back when, my dad, back in the day when our parents, if you're my age, which 45, 28, 45, parents would be like, well, back in the day, you'd get punched in the nose, or everybody was a lot more polite. And, I get that that's a generalization and a funny story, but to an extent, a big extent, is true. People were held to a different standard. Dress, how they act, what they said, what they did. And shockingly, society was quote unquote better. Well, by what marker do you judge that? Well, almost all of them. Go look. 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s minus all the, well, that's when the drug and the bullshit movement started. Society was better, period. I mean, from almost every conceivable standpoint, save for a few, which, you know, again, goes back to life isn't fair. This is kind of a topic. I'm all over the place here. I'm trying to stay focused. I'm just trying to stay focused. The point is, oh, well, it's not fair that the God's wrath comes down on me because my neighbor, you know, sinned and cheated on his wife with the other neighbor's wife or whatever. Well, the problem is if people, that's just, oh, I'm my own God. Have you ever heard preachers say that? That's so, oh. Because that just leads to everybody doing what they want. When everybody does what they want, that's why society and media, the media pushes that so much. You can do whatever you want. You're an individual. It's like, to an extent, yes, it's very important. There's what they do is they work in absolutisms a lot of the times with certain messages. Well, you can do whatever you want. Well, yes, in certain instances, you should be an individual, but also when you live with other people in society, there's standards. It's really not a hard concept, right? I feel like when you say it, it's filled with nuance, and it can be, but at the same time, it's not. What the? Sorry, I'm in a place where a lot of people are just weird. And don't know how to drive. Above the normal threshold of people who don't know how to drive. So, I've been rambling for 6 minutes and 40 minutes now. 6 minutes and 40 minutes, 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So, back to the point. The best thing you can do for yourself today and moving forward is to lay to rest any notion of it isn't fair in your conscience and in your subconscious. Just toss it out and do your utmost to teach it to your kids. And now I'm not saying, keep in mind, I'm not saying that be naive and take it up the ass from people and just let people walk all over you. And again, don't get justice when it's called upon. You know, again, you still have to maintain standards. And even then, sometimes you try to fight the good battle and you don't. But there's obviously a very important point, which if you take and, you know, properly think through in your mind and accept, will make you a lot happier. Well, it's not fair that this happened at work, or it's not fair. That is like the spark that lights the fuse for just unhappiness. It's one of them, one of the big ones. That's not fair. That's such a Kickstarter for misery and, you know, all sorts of negative emotions which do not benefit you. That's what I want you to focus on too. If you have thoughts in your mind all throughout the day, you have to in real time monitor your thoughts. And if you have thoughts that are not productive, they don't have to be naive. I'm not saying be naive, but not productive, not bringing you towards a goal. If they're negative, if they're just just anger, get rid of them. But I can't. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It takes a lot of hard work. But I'm telling you, if there's thoughts in your mind that aren't helpful, this is the easiest summary. I know there's more nuance to it. It's more difficult than this. It takes a lot of work. There's a lot of books out there that you can help yourself out with. Trust me when I tell you, if there's negative thoughts, get rid of them. You don't have to give them power. Those thoughts in your mind, you don't have to just pretend their car is just driving by. And here it comes and there it goes. All that anger thought. Yeah, I'm a little anger, but because it'll go. Think how many times in your life that you've been anxious, worried, stressed, whatever, and then the event that caused all those negative emotions came and went, and then afterwards, no matter the outcome, even if it was a bad outcome, at least it was finalized and you knew the totality of it. You calmed down a little bit. And maybe if it was really bad, it took a little bit. But eventually you got to a point where it didn't manufacture the severity of those negative emotions. And you can do that without going through all. If you've got like something coming up that you don't want to go through, nasty divorce, court cases, shit at work, whatever, there's going to be a point where that's over with and you will not be as worked up with emotions concerning that event. So just skip it. You can. It's very difficult. Again, all this stuff is difficult and it takes work. I would look into books that center around like ACT therapy, CBT therapy. I know that psychology is a soft science, but it's been something I've taken up over the past 7 years, and boy, oh boy, you want to straighten yourself out? Start reading those books and doing the work. Because you'll be a lot happier. A lot happier. You don't have to start with hardcore like textbooks or whatever like I got into. You just start out with something called, the book called The Happiness Trap. What's the author's name? Poop. Russ? It's been years since Google The Happiness Trap, and the author's first name, I believe, is Russ. I would start out with that. It's a pretty easy read. It's not too technical. It gives you some good techniques to manage stress, called grounding techniques. And it's worth the read. It's worth the read. You know, if you're sick of, if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, although it's not hard looking at this GQ face, if you've made it this far, I'm assuming you're fucking sick and tired of being sick and tired and irritated and all that. Trust me when I tell you, you can do something about it. If no one else believes in you, I know for a fact, whoever is hearing this message, you can do it if you really want to. And don't get discouraged if you try and then you try for a month and then you falls to the wayside for a little bit. Just, that's going to happen. There's not going to be a linear progression with almost anything of positivity and just results. There's ups and downs, setbacks. That's okay. That's okay. As long as you just still push forward, you eventually reach your goal. Now, of course, you want to be as on schedule about it as you can, but so yeah, life's not fair. You got to suck it up and deal with it. And it's kind of a long video for that topic, but I just kind of was regurgitating what the set apart spirit gave to me there. It was put on me to say that. So even if the one person who watches this whole video gets the message, this message was for you. Peace out, you.